Hi, I'm Shelina and welcome to my kitchen. I can't wait to share with you some Mauritian recipes that I love to cook often in my home here in Southampton. So this recipe is a Mauritian coconut curry using king prawns. In Mauritius we use seafood plentifully and it's one of my most favourite things to cook. What's really important is that you don't overcook the prawns. So getting the base of the curry is really beautiful. Mauritian food is a wonderful melting pot of African, Indian, French and Chinese, and so I'm going to help you understand some of these recipes that I love to cook in this dish today. Right, so to start the recipe, we always need an onion when we're cooking a curry. And instead of chopping an onion, I like to grate an onion. It does two things. It helps to get rid of some of that extra moisture that we don't actually want in the pan. And also it's just easier. So just using the coarse side of a box grater, just grate the onion. So I'm welling up because of the memories of Mauritius, because of lockdown. I've been unable to go to the island. So yeah, no, the onions are making me cry. So another kind of classic part of a base is garlic and ginger. It's used in all curry bases in Mauritius. So I'm gonna take my ginger and I'm gonna take a 2-inch piece. So all I do is just sort of chop off how much I need. So just draw your teaspoon over the ginger, and it runs over all those knobbly bits. And if you were to use a knife, you would end up wasting so much of this beautiful ginger. And if you want the recipe, the link is in the video description. So I'm gonna just grate 2 inches of this, and you'll end up with all this wonderful ginger juice, which is very necessary for the recipe as well. Okay, so I'm gonna be using around 3 pieces of garlic. So best way to open your garlic is just take the end off and then just peel it open. So just using the microplane, just grate this down. Now when you get curry leaves, they do come as a whole kind of stem with all the leaves kind of on there as well. So just like that. If you can't get hold of fresh curry leaves, you can substitute it with 1 bay leaf. But if you can get a hold of fresh or dry, then I would certainly advise you to do that. So all you want to do is just kind of tear the leaves off and then just discard the stem. And then for this recipe, I want to use some coriander stalk, okay? And a lot of people get a bit scared about what I mean by that, but it's just this bit here. Don't worry if there are some stray leaves in there, that's all gonna add flavor. Just tear off some of the stalk, and all I'm gonna do is just coarsely chop that. And it smells amazing. It just smells so fragrant. So typically, I think people are a little bit scared when it comes to chili. The curry powder that I'm using is almost a mild curry powder. It doesn't have any chili in it. And the reason why I do that is because you can add the chili that you like to the flavor of your curry. There's a variety of chilies that you can get hold of nowadays. So you've got these ones, which are almost like the Serrano jalapeno style. And they're quite mild in flavor, but they have a very kind of pepper kind of taste to it. And then you go into heat territory where you have these little babies, and these are the ones that I love. This one's almost like a Thai chili, a scud chili, and these are like the finger bird's eye chili. The best way to get the flavor of chili without that kind of overwhelming heat, all I do is literally take the chili and then just slice it down the center, okay? And I just literally leave it like that. If you don't want the heat, take out the seeds and the pith and then just keep the skin. Okay, so that's the chilies done, and the final thing I want to do for prep is just to get my tomatoes grated. And again, I really like to grate the tomatoes. What I end up doing is getting all that juice out of the tomatoes, and it helps to break down the skin. You'll see when I grate them, the skin comes out, and it just means it's not kind of kept in the curry. So we're just going to grate that, and you see it sort of naturally takes the skin off. So that's all our prep done. We're now gonna go ahead and start cooking up the curry. So we're gonna go in with the oil. I've got around 5 tablespoons. It seems like a lot, but actually what you'll notice is the oil adds flavor and it will help to cook all these wonderful ingredients. So in with all of the onion, garlic, ginger, coriander stalk, curry leaves and chili all in one go. And what you'll notice, because we've grated the onion, it kind of creates a paste really quickly, and it cooks as quickly as the ginger and garlic. If you'd chopped it, you would have ended up with chunky bits of onion, which take much longer to cook. What's very important at this stage is to season it with salt. You need to season as you go along. What the salt is going to do is take out the excess water from the onions, and it's going to help cook it quicker. So both my parents came from Mauritius back in the 70s. And Mauritius is such an interesting mix, both ethnically and religiously. We have a real mix of people from India, Africa, China and France, and that's what we've become. A lot of the food is so normal for us to have a Chinese style noodles alongside a curry with some French stew and some bread and some African sauces, for example. That for us is true kind of quintessential Mauritian cuisine. Now, the curry powder. This is a trick that you're all gonna love. Basically, a lot of the time when people cook curry, their curries don't turn out right because they've burnt the spices. So all I do is I take my curry powder and I'm gonna use sort of 2 tablespoons, and it goes straight into some water, and you're gonna create a slurry basically. And all I'm gonna do is mix that up. And what happens is when it hits the pan, the water is gonna evaporate it and allows the spice to cook. This now goes into the pan, okay? And what you'll see is it thickens really, really quickly. All that water just evaporates, and you'll end up with a curry paste that is cooked and it's not burnt or acrid in any way. Smells amazing, absolutely delicious. So now we're gonna go in with the grated tomatoes and all of that juice, and you need all of that straight in the pan. We're gonna go in with our coconut milk, and that's gonna be the rich creaminess that we want to kind of temper all those spices. And now we're just gonna let that cook through, get all the flavors together before we add the prawns in. So I absolutely adore Mauritian food, and I would definitely call myself an ambassador in the UK for Mauritian cuisine. I have my restaurant now for 5 years called La Casa Mama, and in Pidgin, in Creole, which is the language we speak on the island, it means mum's house. And it's all about passing those traditions and that kind of, you know, culture of our food to me, and hopefully I'm going to pass it on to my daughter. So this smells incredible, and you will know when it's ready. It will smell fragrant. You'll be able to smell kind of soft smells, if that makes sense. You've got the earthy curry, you've got the creamy coconut, which is very, very sweet. And this is exactly the kind of texture I'm looking for. As you can see, it's turned into a beautiful sauce. It doesn't have any lumpy bits in it. So I've got my king prawns here, and if you just think about it as a poach. So just cover it in all that wonderful curry sauce. And at this point, I like to season again for my last bit of seasoning. So a pinch in with the salt, and then just allow that to poach. As soon as they start to turn pink and the opaqueness is gone, it's cooked. And at this point, actually, Mum, don't you normally put tamarind in the curry?
Yes, I do. I've got fresh one, yeah.
Oh, those are from Mauritius, aren't they?
Yeah, they are fresh.
So these are the tamarind pods, and actually traditionally in Mauritian curries, but only for seafood, isn't it?
Yeah, all the seafood.
All the seafood. So any fish, any seafood, we add a drop of tamarind right at the end, and it's that sour hit that this curry really needs. But traditionally, this is what they look like, these tamarind pods. And they're peeled open.
You can.
How do you do it? Do you want to do it?
Yeah, you just go like that.
They're actually perfect just to snack on, by the way. So basically, they're almost as fudgy as a date. I think that's the best way to describe them. And you have to pour them in a bit of hot water.
Yeah.
And then it will soak it, and then those seeds will naturally kind of disperse. Just sieve it, and it will create a tamarind paste. But you can buy one already made for you, so you don't have to go to the heavy labour of doing that.
If you don't have it,
Yeah.
you can use lime or lemon.
It just adds that sour hit that these seafood curries really, really need to make it taste absolutely tangy and delicious. Thanks, Mum. You can go and snack on these.
I'm doing it now.
So that's my mum, Sheila, and she's the inspiration to my restaurant. And actually, my whole cooking journey has been inspired by the food that she's taught me, really. So these prawns look perfectly poached. What you'll see is that they've kind of curled into themselves, and if they curl too much, then they end up being really, really rubbery. The sauce looks beautiful, and what you'll see is the oil has sort of come to the surface, and the curry powder is all cooked through. So this looks delicious for me. I'm gonna bring that over, and it's ready to serve. So I'm just gonna serve up one portion. This is enough for 4 normally. A nice big portion of the prawn curry. Over here, I've just got a saffron rice with some cumin running through it. It adds a really beautiful kind of contrast in flavor to the curry. And then typically in Mauritius, we always have like a salsa or a salad that we serve alongside our curries. And this one's as simple as it can be. Grated carrot with some coriander and mint with a very simple lemon vinaigrette on it as well. So a curry is not a curry unless we garnish it with some fresh coriander. So just literally put that over the curry. Also, because we've got the coconut in there, I do like to add a few shavings of fresh coconut, which just adds some texture and some contrast as well. And for that sour hit, my mum's trick, So just add in some lime juice if you don't have that tamarind, and then you end up with that lovely tang that you need for the prawn curry. So that's my Mauritian coconut prawn curry with saffron cumin rice and a carrot salsa.